There were special elections in Texas 2 nights ago, and some Justice Democrats were running. So we're going to see how these Justice Democrats did. There were 7 races in total with Justice Democrats. I'm just going to run through these real quick, and you'll get a sense of what the night was like. So J. Darnell Jones is one of the Justice Democrats. He was in the 2nd District. He lost to Todd Litton. Derek Crow is another Justice Democrat. He's in the 21st District. He lost. So, so far, not so good when you look at the results. There were 7 races. 2 of them so far were losses. But let's move to the middle ground results here. The ones that are, like, not as bad. Rick Trevino, who's in the 23rd District, came in 2nd place, but he didn't lose. Because the way it works in Texas is if the person who wins doesn't get above 50%, then you go to a runoff election. So Rick Trevino is in the runoff election, which is a good sign. Maybe he can pick up the votes of whoever voted for the other candidates, which is probably actually likely because he's the populist, uncorrupted candidate, and he'll pick up votes from other, long shot candidates. So that's a good sign. It's great he made it to the runoff election. We also have Laura Moser, who was attacked by corporatists. She was attacked by corporatists who smeared her and lied and said she hates Texas, just utter garbage and nonsense, and claimed she was being corrupt. Meanwhile, she doesn't take any corporate PAC money. How the fuck is she corrupt? Of course, it was the corrupt people who were charging her with corruption. So I think it was the DCCC who did it, and they are terrible. They make you use their consultants so that you pay them money. It's a giant racket, and we cover the story about how they ask you if you can raise $250,000 going through your phone book, and if you can't, they're not interested in you. Corporatists through and through. So she was attacked by corporatists, and this is the 7th District, by the way, will be in the runoff election. She came in 2nd place. She's going to be in the runoff election. So hopefully we can stick it to the corporatists in the 7th District in Texas, and Laura Moser can win. So far, results are not great. We have 2 losses, 2 people going into a runoff. Where the fuck are the victories? We actually have them. So Vanessa Adia won. That's the 12th District. To be fair, she was uncontested. So we knew she was going to win going into it. But we also have, in the 14th District, Adrienne Bell won. She was contested. She won. Lindsey Fagan won. She's the 26th District. So overall, the results of the Justice Democrats, you have 3 victories, 2 losses, 2 candidates going into a runoff election. It's not bad. It's not bad. I was of the mindset that I literally want to win every single race with Justice Democrats involved. And to be fair, I think that if it was a fair playing field and Justice Democrats generated the same kind of media attention that corporate Democrats generate, I think we would win over 90% of our elections. I genuinely believe that if it was a fair playing field and everybody was given the same press coverage and everybody knew about all the candidates in detail, I think we would win over 90% of our races. Now, that's obviously me, and I like to set a high bar and have high standards. So that didn't happen, and that's not gonna happen. But to win 3 races, lose 2, and to go to a runoff in 2 other elections, listen, man, that's not bad. That's not bad, because if you ask people early on, hey, what do you think is going to happen with these Justice Democrats? You would have gotten laughed out of the room. They would have laughed at you. They would have said, yeah, okay, sure. Or you're going to run with no corporate PAC money? That's fucking cute. You can't win if you run with no corporate PAC money. But the reality is that people power can override the power of corporate PAC money. But we just need to get the word out there, and we just need to remind everybody of who the uncorrupted candidates are. And by the way, the Justice Democrats, they're all running on Medicare for all. They're all running on getting money out of politics. They're all running on free college. So these are candidates who are Democratic candidates who are representing the ideology that the Democratic Party should have been all along. And what we know for sure is the other wing of the Democratic Party, the neoliberal corporatist wing of the Democratic Party, they keep getting their ass handed to them on a silver platter, especially in elections with Republicans. Because when you give people a choice of Republican or Republican light, the American people choose the Republican. So our whole idea is stop being Republican light, stop half agreeing with the Republicans on shit, stop taking corporate PAC money, and actually stand for something policy-wise. Be unapologetic in your belief system and fight for a social democratic view. And if you do that, you can win. And we're starting to see that that is happening. Even though we have a giant systemic disadvantage because we almost always raise less money than our opponents, even with that giant bias against us, because remember, it's over 90% of the time that the person in a congressional race that has less money loses. The person who raises more money wins. Over 90% of the time. So it's a giant hurdle we're trying to overcome. And the reality is we can't overcome the money deficit. With the small dollar donations, we can hang in there, but we never really beat the person who's raising corporate money. But with people power, we have a shot. We have a prayer. So I think this is good news overall. We need more candidates who say no corporate PAC money, and we're running on Medicare for all and free college and a living wage and ending the wars and a new deal. And this is just the beginning, you know? And one thing that I had to remind myself of is even if we don't have a great showing this first time around, you have to understand there are many politicians who run their first time, they don't win. Run the second time, they don't win. But by the third time, they might win, or the fourth time, they might win. So you have to up your name recognition, and there's a lot of shit that goes into it. So we can't get distraught even if we don't do well the first time around, because I think the potency of our ideas is there. So it's just a matter of dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's and laying the groundwork and fighting onward. So, but for the first time out there, 3 wins, 2 losses, and 2 runoffs. Not terrible, man. Not terrible. So let's keep fighting. You guys know how you can support the Justice Democratic candidates. If you'd like to, you go to justicedemocrats.com and, you know, you can read through all the different candidates there and see if any are in your district and see if you can volunteer or donate some cash or whatever the case is. But this is not... There's no reason to be sad looking at this. So let's keep fighting on. Let's keep doing our thing. And then eventually, we're going to get a bunch of candidates who are correct on all the policy positions to get elected.